Buchanan on A&M as they go into Tuscaloosa. And, of course, when this game was on the schedule after Jimbo and Nick Saban had their little spat, maybe this was supposed to be the thought of the week is, oh, okay, one of the two. But it's not. It's A&M trying to figure things out. And we have a stat. Here's an interesting note. This is Jimbo Fisher. This is from Jim Weber. Look at the numbers. This is based on his contract. Look at the numbers at the bottom. This is what it would cost A&M this year, $86 million, or $86 million. Next year, $77 million, all the way down to where it gets manageable where? After 2028, that's $30 million, and then $20 million, and then eventually nothing. But that's part of that extension they signed him to. That's the buyout, if in fact they were to let him go. It's not happening. It's not going to happen. Will it happen? I don't know.
Okay. They did this to keep him from going to LSU with Chris Woodward. That wasn't going to happen because Chris Woodward already had his sights set on Brian Kelly. And they did it because LSU's had all this strife post-Orgeron, and then pre-Orgeron, before they even hired him, they gave him, they wanted to make sure that Jimbo didn't go to LSU. They always thought that was a worry, but with the LSU job, given what he has at A&M, even though LSU's won more, as far as financial security, right then, A&M was a better job. Now, financially, but LSU's a better, let's not mince words. LSU's the better job. They win national titles there. But for Jimbo at that moment, but that was really never going to happen. It was always negotiating against yourself. And if you want to know who the greatest agent in all of sports is, and all due respect to Scott Boras, but people walk out of the room and won't deal with Scott Boras, so that's where he moves into B on baseball. They just won't deal with him. They won't sign his players. Jimmy Sexton has all these coaches, and he's the best. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, well, there's a decision he made back a few years ago. I thought was a bad decision on trying to rebuild the image of a football coach that went south. That was his idea.
But look, he, at least in his career, ledger, has maybe made up for that one by getting a $90 million full contract buyout for Jimbo Fisher.
Yep. To me, you see NFL teams do this, and maybe on occasion Major League Baseball teams do this. The money that is in the NBA is hard for me to even comprehend. Hey, get what you can. I'm not arguing about the money that they make, but the renegotiation of contracts because of a job. Like Kansas, are they going to extend Lance Leipold? Remember, Baylor did that. The Matt Rule, remember, in 2019 had an extension. Everyone probably went. Mack Rhodes, I think they meant what they were doing. But Matt Rule was gone within a couple of months with that extension. Some of them are like, why? And a lot of times you're not doing it because the person has earned it. You're doing it because of fear that person might leave, which then means maybe they earned it because you don't want to lose them. They're going to leave eventually, whoever it is, if the money is right.
If somebody wants to leave, they're going to leave. One, and trying to protect. I mean, you're not protecting yourself on the buyout as much as you are if you can't fire them. What A&M has to do now is something that's going to be really hard to do because Jimbo Fisher has them financially over a barrel. Even as much money as they have, paying $90 million to someone is just stupid.
No, but they have it, though. But they have the money. It's not even coming out of anything A&M does. It's that they have boosters that are not. Now, they're not real happy about this right now.
But even deciding, okay, we're going to pay that $90 million out over 10 years and pay him $9 million a year, it's going to prevent somebody from giving money for something else that they need, right? Because they're spending money on this buyout.
$94 million in buyouts last year, remember?
Yeah.
And already nearly $50 million already, and we're not even into the first week, past the first week in October.
And so, I mean, this is why Jimbo Fisher's not in danger this year, and maybe not even next year because of the recruits he's brought in. He's done a very good job recruiting. What they have to do is sit down and convince him, if you want to compete with Saban, there's one thing that he does that you won't do. He changes with the times. Jimbo has not done that.
Yeah, no. And even if Saban barks about the up-tempo, he eventually became up-tempo. Well, it barks about the transfer portal, and yet they might have done better than anybody in the transfer portal.
Barking about all of that stuff is just so he can maybe give himself some time to figure it out.
And also sends messages to his fan base, and they're going to react to it. So SMU, UCF tonight.